In an era when NASA is led by an African-American man, Administrator Charles Bolden, and a woman, Deputy Administrator David Newman, and when recent NASA center directors come from a variety of backgrounds, it's easy to overlook the people who paved the way for the agency's current and recent bursts in diversity in the workforce and leadership. So, my presentation is on the movie Hidden Figures. I'm going to show a little trailer so you get a better understanding of what it is.
Equilateral, trapezoid, isosceles, tetrahedron.
I've never seen a mind like the one your daughter has. You have to see what she becomes.
Come on! Hey! Move like that.
Catherine! We all gonna end up unemployed riding around in this pile of junk.
You're welcome to walk the 16 miles. Or sit in the back of the bus.
And kiss me up!
You have identification on them?
We're just on our way to work at NASA, sir.
I had no idea they hired.
There are quite a few women working in the space program.
You know what we're doing here? We're putting a human on top of a missile shooting into space, and it's never been done before. I need a mathematician that can look beyond the numbers. Math that doesn't yet exist before the Russians plant a flag from the damn moon.
You have someone?
Running without plans.
Catherine's the gal for that. She can handle any numbers you put in front of her.
Don't embarrass me.
This wasn't empty last night?
I'm sorry, I'm not the...
That Colonel Jim is a tall glass of water. He's coming over.
Now, why would he be doing that?
Because Mary's waving at me.
No!
Dorothy, slice of pie?
I love one.
You already have a slice of pie, Dorothy.
Oh, left, found it.
You're a computer at NASA. They let women handle that sort of...
Yes, it's an uphill battle.
Yes, they let women do some things at NASA, Mr. Johnson. And it's not because we wear skirts. It's because we wear glasses.
So, that movie, let me go back to the presentation. That movie is very well known for its attention on not only sexism back in the day, but also sexism towards black women, which is very rarely spoken about, especially in terms of STEM careers. So it follows these three women, Mary Jackson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Katherine Johnson. And I'm going to give you a little bio on each person. Mary Jackson had a love for science since a young age. She joined her youth science group back in her hometown of Hampton, Virginia. But more importantly, she had a love for helping those around her. She graduated from Hampton Institute in 1942 with a dual degree in math and physical science and accepted a job as a math teacher at a black school in Calvert County, Maryland. Maryland needed special permission from the city of Hampton to join her white peers in the classroom. But because she was never one to flinch at a challenge, she completed the courses, earned the promotion, and in 1958 became NASA's first black female engineer. Mary Jackson began her engineering career in an era in which female engineers of all backgrounds were a rarity. In the 1950s, she very well may have been the only black female aeronautical engineer in the field. And this is a quote from Dorothy Vaughan: "Every time we have a chance to get ahead, they move the finish line, every time," which speaks for not only getting a job or getting an acceptance in a career, but as equity and equality as a whole. Dorothy Vaughan. So those who speak of NASA's pioneers really don't mention the name Dorothy Vaughan, but as the head of the NASA's segregated West Area Computing Unit, which Mary Jackson was also a part of, Vaughan was both a respected mathematician and NASA's first African-American manager. Dorothy Vaughan came to the Langley Memorial Aeronautical Laboratory in 1943 during the height of World War II, leaving her position as a math teacher at Robert Russa Mountain High School in Farmville, Virginia, to take what she thought would be a temporary job. Dorothy Vaughan was assigned to the segregated West Area Computing Unit, an all-black female group of mathematicians who were originally required to use separate dining and bathroom facilities. Dorothy Vaughan retired from NASA in 1971, and her legacy still lives on in successful careers, notable West Computing alumni, including Mary Jackson, Katherine Johnson, Eunice Smith, and Catherine Pedrew, and the achievements of second-generation mathematicians and engineers such as Dr. Christine Darden. And a quote from Dorothy Vaughan would be, "Separate and equal are two different things. Just because it's the way does not make it right." This is the last person, Katherine Johnson. Born in White Sulphur, Virginia, or White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, in 1918, Katherine Johnson her intense curiosity and knowledge put her ahead several grades in school. By 13, she was attending the high school on the campus of historically black West Virginia State College. At 18, she enrolled in the college itself, where she became the third African American to earn a PhD in mathematics. In 1952, a relative told her that there were going to be opening positions at the all-black West Area Computing Section at the NACA's Langley Laboratory, headed by a fellow West Virginian, Dorothy Vaughn. Katherine and her husband moved the entire family to Newport News to pursue the opportunity. Katherine Johnson worked as a human computer in the gender-segregated and racially segregated division, West Area Computers, alongside her colleagues, aspiring engineer Mary Jackson and their unofficial acting supervisor, Dorothy Vaughn. Katherine Johnson, spent the next 4 years for the next 4 years analyzing data from flight tests and working on the investigation of a plane crash caused by wake turbulence. Okay, and the 2 points why. Oh wait, this is actually her quote. Know how to learn, then want to learn, by Katherine Johnson. So the big concept of me bringing this to your attention is equity within STEM careers. So, if you can look at the visuals a little bit. As I mentioned a couple times when I was reading these very intelligent women's backgrounds and their biographies, I mentioned a lot of the time the West Area Computers. So the West Area Computers were basically a separate working section for not only women but black women, because there were already separate computers and separate learning sections for women as a whole. So this is a result of Jim Crow. If you know anything about Jim Crow was a former practice of segregating black people in the U.S. And it hit basically every aspect of equity within the Constitution, whether it be jobs, simple things like using the bathroom. And something that we don't really talk about is the idea of unemployment rates and job pay. It also hit a huge gap in the job pay. So when blacks did get jobs, like for instance these women here, when they did get a job, they were paid significantly less than the white women in the job field. So, of course, there was an act passed which basically permitted all employers from doing the following: failing or refusing to hire an employee based on their race, firing or disciplining an employee because of their race, paying an employee less or providing them fewer benefits on account of their race, failing to provide benefits, promotions, or opportunities to an employee because of their race, and improperly classifying or segregating employees or applicants by race. Although this may seem like it would be very effective, we still see major inequalities and issues of equity within job fields. I can't really read it all right now, but you'll be able to see it when I share the link with you. So this is where I got a lot of my statistics from if you want to look more into job inequity and stuff, especially in the STEM field. So that's it.